throughout it. So I think
I just read the text, and there was a story being told, but I just got this part, this one more image added to the whole set. It was not by itself telling the story of the demo, but it was just one image of all of them.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it was a story where, you know, Alice finds a hole and the rabbit jumps. It wasn't that kind of story, but I mean, there was kind of a theme.
I guess, I mean, I didn't see any text whatsoever, and I still liked the demo. I think it's a cohesive demo that has a lot in it, but I guess I'll have to watch it again to
You're going to like
the
it even
story
more
portion.
when you see the text.
Yeah, I had no idea it had text in it. All right, so the final demo, and then we can do some wrapping up, and I'll probably hit. Yeah, I'm sure people have been sending me messages on my phone. That's why I left it on. The final demo, we have two folks who have joined us who actually were involved in the creation of this. Guys, do you want to talk about the demo first, or would you like to hear everyone's comments first and then react to them?
Yeah.
All right. Then let's do that.
Yeah, it's like a been heavy party coding session again.
You did this all during the party?
Well, we had
mostly
a few seconds done yesterday, so it's a tradition of us to make it here. And
so all of your demos have been done at the party?
Mostly.
Yeah. Mostly.
I had no idea. We've talked about them in previous years, and we've always thought that you have spent more than just a party session doing that. That's actually another thing that would be useful to have on the slides, because there's a difference between having several months to create a theme or a cohesive story and to produce it on the fly. Yes, deeper.
Well, it's a bit difficult to measure how much you have actually done during the party because, well, we started 2009, this engine. Made one demo for assembly, made another demo 2011.
Right.
Last year, another one, and now, so it has been a progression of building a demo engine that lets you make demos quickly.
Right.
So we are getting there to be a bit faster.
So, I mean, you have an engine that allows you to do this, but you're still continuing to code on the engine each time and improving it.
Yeah.
And you're not starting from scratch. I don't know that many people that starts, well, nobody starts banging the metal anymore. So there's that. Coming to Japeq, Urs, you first.
Okay, I'm just going to ask a very blunt question. Your release looks kind of like a 4K. Can you explain why?
Well,
all the materials and geometries more or less simple, and then of course the effects that come from it are complex and stuff that cannot be done in 4K with hydrodynamics and everything. But yeah, well, it looks, the optics, it tastes 4K-ish.
We decided to go with mostly generated content this time.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, well, we decided to focus on the effect side totally now and forget like a high-level storyboarding, and it's like but there's still some idea you can try to figure it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. I just want to make sure. If people are having problems hearing deeper, let me know, because I'm sometimes having trouble, but it's probably because I'm further away. But if the microphone is working fine, I know they swapped out your microphone a little bit ago. Japeq.
Yeah, I'll maybe comment on the demo later, but I actually wanted to just react on what you said about having text about the demos. Like, I didn't actually know that you guys coded the demo at the party. So what Instancy has done, which is the party in Jyväskylä, you're allowed to go up on stage before each entry, and you can talk about your entry. So you can talk about, you know, the philosophy or the techniques that you used. We're going to be stealing that for the alternative party in October.
I'm not sure that I would agree that that's a good thing, especially given some people, my propensity to pontificate. Also, I am not a big fan of what happens in the States at a lot of parties, where you'll have somebody who is trying to explain the demo as it's being played. And for goodness sakes, if you're the audience doesn't need to have the effects explained to them. It's a demo. Let it speak for itself. But now we're completely on a tangent. And let's go back to talking about your demo. So, again, party-coded production, or did you also do the music entirely here?
No, not at all. It's
Okay.
Legend or Kumotus and Minamus. I just wrote the code this time.
Okay. So you did all the graphics then?
No.
What did you do in the
Basically,
demo?
was focusing on the tool development.
So you're working on the tool along with your coding the back-end engine portion. Okay. I'm going to be very interested to see this tool when it's finished. Even if you don't release it, I want to see how you're putting these things together.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
So we have actually I can tell a little about the tool. So we have extended the
Please do.
GNU Rocket control system.
Okay.
Which is, it's...
Yeah, GNU Rocket is made by Kuzma and Scrabble, and it's a tool, multi-platform tool that can be used for syncing and controlling things in your demo. Did you always used to do the spacebar sync like so many other folks?
Yeah, well, before using GNU Rocket, we had all kinds of systems, like modifying those into the files, or, well, the worst is, of course, compile again and then start. And but we had some mouse control systems and some systems like that where you, well, mainly it was code based before.
Right. The system itself, if you want to have more information about it, possibly the best place to go, other than just the GNU Rocket website, there was recently at the Demo.js party in France, Mog, one of the seniors there, gave a presentation on using GNU Rocket for controlling JavaScript demos. So not just Windows demos. I mean, it's been used for Game Boy Advance productions, Windows productions, Linux productions, anything. It's cross-platform. It's made to allow you to free yourself from having to mess with and write code or do spacebar sync. So you have a system that starts with that, and continue.
Yeah. So we have a system, and then we build some new effects and put those, modify those on the run.
Okay.
Whatever.
So you write effects, you fill them into the GNU Rocket framework.
Well, we have actually extended our demo system so that it directly talks with the Rocket.
Right.
Well, it actually directly talks initially, but we have quite a lot extended the actual Rocket.
Cool.
And maybe someday we can share it with the original creators.
At least release the patches we have made so far.
I will basically say that if I know Kuzma at all, and he's probably watching this now, he's probably sitting at home saying, yes, please submit me the patches now. He's the type of person that would want that. And he's also, he's pretty decent to work with. He may be a little harsh at times, but he's good to work with. All right. Comments on the demo?
I want to comment on another thing.
All right.
Because I was sitting not far away from the Adept guys, which I just got to know you some days ago, and it was really nice to see the progress of your demo during the days, because every time I passed, we had a little chat on how the demo is going, and it was really nice to see the progress from day to day during your hard work party coding, like it should be. It's the best thing to party code, and with such an awesome result, I think.
To that effect, sometimes when people come here from from outside of Finland, or those folks that maybe don't come into the arena at all until the demo shows, the demo compos. There is a bit of camaraderie that takes place inside, especially in the old school area. In the past few years, when we've had the demo booth, and you know, when we're working to fill up the compo studios. I've said this every time that anybody ever brings up the demo scene with me. The demo scene is 95 or higher percentage social, and sometimes it seems like there's a bit missing from assembly because everybody is somewhere else. But that isn't actually true. There are people who are here, and many times they're up in the old school area. So don't be afraid of coming here to assembly. It's a great party to come to. Some of us live here. Well, let's see. Of the people here, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 of us. You moved away deeper. Yes, you're no longer local? Or are you still here in Helsinki, in the Helsinki area?
Yeah, I'm near here. So.
Yeah, okay. So many of us are local, and we can guide you to places if you come in a couple extra days. It's a wonderful place to visit. Please come to assembly. We really this year have been missing people from. Many of our friends weren't able to make it this year. Please come back next year and bring productions. Conspiracy, it's time to get your butts back up here again. Also, maybe releasing another 64K, but I know I haven't finished any of my stuff, so you can call me on that one. But you need to visit again.
There is a party in October, so there is an excuse to.
Yes, it's called TRSAC. It's in Denmark. And yeah, sorry, but I am going into that one. However, we will see what happens with the alternative party this year with your new ideas that you're borrowing from Instancy, and see how it evolves from where it went. Because
yeah, it's a whole new team. So.
Yeah, it kind of at one point kind of seemed almost as if you were kind of pushing the demo scene away, and now you're bringing it back in. So I'm very interested in seeing how that does, and I'm going to watch that as an outsider and then return next year. Because you will have one next year, yes?
Possibly not. We never know. But I just wanted to comment. We never pushed away the demo scene. Our philosophy has always been developing the demo scene. But that can feel like it because we don't do the same thing over and over again, and people want that same thing over and over again.
No, honestly, it really did feel like we were being told to go away. Just as feedback. Another time, we'll discuss that. Let's talk more about what's on my phone. Unless anybody has anything further to say about any of the demos, I've got all sorts of stuff. People probably want me to comment on some things. Kuzma says, indeed, submit patches.
Well, I would have a hardcore coder question about your demo.
All right, go ahead. Hardcore
because
question.
You had the scene in the demo where you had the hand dipping into the water or fluid. Was this actual, I mean, were the waves actually real? Because it looked like they actually, water simulation, was it actually actual water you were simulating, or was it just very, very well faked?
Yeah, well, it was a water simulation, so...
Okay, so it was actual water, it was not fake.
How can you tell if it's fake or not?
Well, yeah, it looked right, so it's probably right, or you found a good way to fake it.
I will answer that one. In the 64K Turtles All the Way Down, they released a postmortem of it on their website. And they do mention that when they were doing the waves, they just faked it by using mapped sinus fields. So, and we see that in many things, especially in 64Ks and size limits. They'll just, okay, let's just use a sinus field and repeat that and bounce the reflections off of that. So that is what what I'm thinking of when I'm thinking of faked water. Yes.
I can certainly say that it's not sinus waves.
Okay.
So if you take another look at the demo, you can see the particles and everything is hitting the water and or the reflection material, whatever it is.
Okay.
So yeah.
That makes it at least twice as awesome.
Water is only one effect. I think the bigger effect is the reflections. I don't know how visible they are.
Yeah.
It's like a well.
Okay.
Sadok.
I mean, obviously everybody knows what my favorite demo is. I'm probably not going to win because it splits opinions. So I think for the combo, it's actually going to be a toss between your demo and Pyrotech probably. I don't know. Do you agree?
I don't know which of my favorite demos. I have several that I need to rewatch, and I don't.
But I'm talking,
time.
The winner, not.
No, I'm talking about which one am I going to vote for? I don't know at this point, so I can't actually say that I have a favorite. I will say that I have a message here that says that they agree with you and that you speak the truth about this demo. So you may be wrong. It may actually have much more.
Which demo?
The Belotrip demo.
Okay.
It may actually have that sneak in and grab the winning thing from the clutches of Pyrotech and Division.
And you can always win the most original concept award from Alternative Party.
Are you doing that again this year?
Yes, we are. Yes.
All right. So you're probably going to be giving that one to the railway thing and ignoring this demo because you didn't like this Belotrip demo at all. Right.
I'm not revealing anything.
I didn't think you would. You haven't said anything about which demo you really, really like in this competition, and I'm sure you wouldn't bring that to that. I don't actually have as many messages as I was expecting, but that actually may be a good thing. So, without a lot of messages on my phone, I guess we are down to what did everybody think of the competition in general? There weren't as many things. Did it feel it was lacking? Yes, deeper.
Well, I was certainly expecting more demos. But it's and more like you said in the beginning that all the big stars are missing. So well, it doesn't actually need big stars. You can get some new guys also, giving some very heavy good experience. So.
Yes, new demo groups, new people working on things is very much something that all of us like. Sadok, I think, really likes it.
Again, referring to Instancy, we went there.
Yeah.
There was one other scener that I knew. Everybody else was new, and they were like folks in their 20s.
Cool.
So there's a whole new scene coming up.
Excellent. Whole new Finnish scene, because I mean we haven't seen that much from Instancy outside of that, and some of the other countries, certainly Poland and. France has had a resurgence of young sceners in the past couple of years as well.
But I will say that of the compos at Assembly, this was not the highlight for me, the demo compo, although there was a couple of really nice ones. The highlights were maybe the 1K and the Real Wild. Those were my personal highlights.
The Real Wild I would agree with. The throwaway compo, no, I can't agree with that. That compo had one or two entries that could have been expanded into 4Ks, and the rest of it is just somebody should take those ideas and work them into something rather than just throwing it up on the screen with, oh, look, I made something. You can do more than just make a 1K and throw it up there. It's a refuse compo, and I say this as a person who collects refuse. It's our garbage truck. That compo is not something I look forward to. When we review the demos each month at Gluby, we show all the demos from the previous month, and when we hit a run of 1Ks, the morale of the room just drops because you just feel, oh, there could have been so much more. Well, that didn't go anywhere. Okay, let's do the next one. Oh, please make these stop. And I hate when I'm watching demos and something makes me want to stop because I enjoy this so much. I enjoy the creativity, all of the things that come out of it, and I just see the 1Ks as a dead end. I've spoken enough on that. Urs.
I have to disagree with you, actually. Because if we take a look at the demo compo as a whole now,
Yes.
and compare it to previous years, it had nothing missing. I mean, it had nice effects demos, it had nice demos showing some crowd pleasers, showing design, and had a demo conveying emotion. But still, it felt like it was nothing new. I mean, none of the demos felt like, wow, this is the big new release. On the other hand, if we compare the 1K compo this year with the one from previous years, there has been a huge development because in this year's 1K compo, basically every entry had music. We have had a huge collection of new rendering techniques that were not seen before in 1K, and this is something, at least as the kind of scene that more looks at technique than at art, that is one area where I see much more development happening. So for me, 1K stood out at this party.
Gasman.
Yeah, it's...
We gave you plenty of time. We haven't talked about for a while.
Gasman's already at the Magic Castle over there.
No, I don't think so. I think he's still here with us. He's just... He was caught off guard.
Yeah, I was kind of, just swinging between those two opinions, really. It's, I think, yes, that was it. I think having given one or two talks within like the UK hacker scene about the demo scene and getting into it, I think I've sort of had to ask what would my advice be for someone getting into the scene, and I think you start off with the tutorials of get a spinning cube up, but then I think after that then you've got to sort of add your own bit of invention, and I think maybe some of these 1Ks are it's sort of doing the minimum possible. It's not going beyond to getting a spinning cube up and saying, okay, that's my demo. And I think it needs your own individual spark, and I think it needs to be done in a context where people can have that spark.
I'd just like to expand on that. In many cases, I've seen people who dismiss the demo scene as, well, that's just a bunch of screen hacks. And truthfully, that is kind of what the 1K things can be. I won't say that all of them are, because and certainly we had some of them in this competition. I agree with you. This is a better competition than last year. But there is a bit of just the screen hackery there. Just I made something that just is kind of glitchy and, well, I'll put that in. Adding your own to it, or expanding it with friends, or making something that makes it individual or yours is really where a lot of the joy comes in. And I guess that's what I'm saying, is I don't see that as much in the 1Ks. And because, again, I'm a type of person who really enjoys the demo scene and what has come out of it. And I see the potential for people who are getting involved with this hobby to really enjoy themselves, to make things. And I see that area as a dead end for much of it, and I don't like that there is a dead end. So I guess I'm really saying, if you're working on a 1K and you're not personalizing it, or you're not working with your friends and turning it into something that is distinctly yours, or something that you really want to say, yeah, I did that one, that is mine, that is my cube with all of my touches on it, then, well, it isn't that you're missing everything, but you're missing a lot. Try making it personal. Deeper, you've made a few small productions like 4Ks and so forth. am I completely off base here?
Yeah, no.
Okay. No, I've been off base before.
We had a 4K last year. Actually, we had a GNU Rocket integration there, so it gave a little pain because before assembly the player side was not rewritten, so it was not completely compatible with 4K size. So I had to rewrite it during the party, and well, that's to answer your previous question. Why maybe now the demo is kind of looking, or the effects are like 4K or something. It's because now this year we didn't focus on making 4K. All focus was on making demo, and before it has been going at the same time. Like last year, we were trying to make 4K 1K demo.
Right.
And
would you encourage more people to do party productions?
Well, now,
I mean, considering we didn't have all that many entries, it would be an excellent time for somebody to make their first production and enter it.
2 nights of almost no sleep. It feels like not to say tell anybody to do it, but
right.
But it's still a nice own experience. So it's
you have fun doing it, yes?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And actually now when I'm almost happy with the end result, it's even more fun feeling. Like in the end, well, I have experienced also that side that you're awake 3 nights, and then in the end, during the last morning or day, everything is still.
It just falls apart.
Yeah,
and it doesn't go there. Sarak, I may not call on you. You have had a lot to say, and not everybody else has.
It's related to this comment.
It's related to that.
So,
all right, go ahead.
I think a lot of the tools today make it actually much more feasible to do a party demo. To be honest, probably many of the ones that we saw today could have been done at the party, at least to some extent. So I just wonder, back in the old days, some of the teenagers, some of my friends, would work on a demo for a year. And I wonder if that has actually, gone are the days when you would actually do that, because it's not even necessary. The tools make it so much more feasible.
I happen to know at least 3 groups that have been working on a demo for more than a year at the moment, and they're not happy with it, or they're not ready to release it yet. It isn't where they are. So, and I know, well, for instance, wasn't Debris a 2-year project? Yeah, Debris, Farbrush Debris, that took 2 years from, and they got the music at the very last moment, but still, yes, there are still both party productions and people who are working on things very, very long. There's also people who are working on things so long then they really should just release it. And we've seen that, I don't know, from me. But if you've got a production that you've been working on for a while and you're not exactly happy with it, it may actually be time just to release it and move on to the next one. I am very much guilty of that. Of course, I'm also very much guilty of never being happy with anything. Urs knows this from seeing me work on a production for the Finnish Waffles wedding, and just about, well, it was also a party production type thing. We started on it that afternoon, and about 3 hours in, and when we had 5 hours to do it, I was pretty much just saying that I don't want to do this. I hate this. I hate everything about it. And he was still having fun, which drew me out of it. So, yeah.
And it turned out great.
It did. It turned out wonderful. It's the only demo that ran on the hardware.
Yeah.
And, well, that's another thing. All of these demos, I think there weren't any demos this year that somebody will say, well, I have to buy new hardware for. Like, say, I don't know, some demos that Smash has done in the past where he's just really, really pushed the limits. And that's another thing. sometimes people say that we're not pushing limits anymore because we're doing 3D and we're not doing 2D, or we're not hitting the old machine hardware. Even though we didn't see that with this particular compo, it still is also happening. I will continue with a bunch of segues here in a minute, so you should say something. You haven't said anything in a while.
Yeah, about maybe about pushing limits.
Yes.
Maybe there were no demos on the classic demo compo pushing limits, but in the real world compo, for example, there were a lot of demos pushing limits, and yeah, I can totally see you guys buying those big hardware LCD stuff to put it in your in the scene clubby or something like that, and doing some more demos on it and pushing it even more.
I want one of those 20-unit display units like Heidelme used in the, what I'm going to call the Heidelme compo, because it pretty much was, I mean, they had three productions in that. That's, for somebody that can't even finish one, that's amazing. Props. Yes, Frankie.
Sure. Having to, sadly enough, kill your dream, the 20x4 display demo was completely fake.
That's fine. I still want one.
It ran off a PC.
Yeah,
fine.
It was just outputting its stuff on the display.
I still want one.
They still had their limitations.
I have the same kind of display soldered to my Raspberry Pi, and I guess it'll run there as well.
Yes, well, if it would have been on a Raspberry Pi, then yay. If it's running stuff from a PC, it's like, well, okay.
I think the point with that one is that it was character-based, so it wasn't just PC is rendering an image and it's being squirted over to this LCD. I think it was unfortunate that it wasn't really explained that well as in the presentation, but I think there is it did have its own validity.
What do you mean by in the presentation? Was there a presentation that I missed that went along with this?
In the way that it was presented. So if how there were like 4 scrolly messages at once, and one of those might have actually explained this, but apart from that, it was kind of it wasn't clear what the hardware was running it, and I think we could have done with that.
There was actually one limitation as well, because you can design 8 individual characters at a time, and there was the one effect that was twirling around the characters. Right. Was trying to focus on how many characters it had that were different, but I just lost the track.
Yeah,
but it kept me confusing.
And those the metro thing that you saw, the train thing, there is one available still somewhere, so we should get one for the Scene Club.
Not only that, also we should have it available for Alternative Party as one of your special compos. We have to sum up because we have probably about 3 minutes left. So I'm just going to ask highlights of assembly. We'll start with Venom.
My highlight was definitely the real wild compo. Yeah, the Heidelme domination, as already mentioned, and the metro stuff, and also the Android demos. The one on the road was very nice, and it had very clever lighting, and the QLers who were back another time.
Yes.
And I really enjoyed every single, maybe not the very first one on this Atmel. Was it Atmel? No, it was more powerful than Atmel.
Z-board.
It was a Z-board which was explained to us as a military spec thingy.
Okay. Yeah, but it was like just Hello World.
It was really cool.
It was.
Have to move on because we don't have much time. Sedok, quickly.
Real Wild, definitely big highlight for me. Another highlight was actually because we're going to be giving out the most original entry thing. It's not obvious which one we're going to give it out to. Many years it has been completely obvious.
Right.
This year it's not as easy as we thought.
Not as easy. All right. Deeper, your highlight.
Well, it's a. I'm almost satisfied with the demo. That's like.
That's possibly the best comment that I have heard about assembly. That's just awesome. Base Connect.
Yeah, mostly the revive. But unlike you said about the 1K, I see it as a growing platform because I remember about a decade ago, people said the same thing about 4K.
Yeah.
So I'm just waiting for it to grow because you can do it a lot yourself. Like in demos.
As long as people bring in, they personalize it in, it stops being screen hackery based.
Yeah.
I will move out of these are not making me happy to, oh yeah, that's excellent. Frankie.
Things I'll certainly remember from here is, first of all, the Rosbloom 4K, I believe it was, going into the JavaScript 4K, and then the Raspberry Pi real-wild entry.
Gasman.
Yeah, I think I'd have to concur the real wild. As I said in the Complex Studio, it delighted me on a personal level that these platforms that I've been gunning for all this time are finally sort of becoming prime time. And I think I would also attach the Tron JavaScript 4K onto that as well. So yeah, that was really it for me.
The one single thing that impressed me most was the last entry in the video animation compo, actually. One with the machine things and gears and everything.
Oh, yes, yes. That was surprising.
Yes.
I loved the twist at the end.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, well, I think actually the thing that I enjoyed the most was seeing how well the raves worked. I loved all the productions, but you know, I remember there were a couple of years here where we didn't have raves, and seeing the folks that were enjoying that so much down front. I mean, I think it went on for 5 hours. I could be wrong. It could be 6. I know that they stopped at 5 in the morning, and I was very tired, but just watching that all come together and some of the things that surrounded that, I wasn't going to broadcast it on SceneSat, and then I was asked to, because it's important. Muffler is an important demo scene musician, and he's here performing for us. Of course we need to broadcast that. And so we did, and I'm just thrilled because, I mean, people were just enjoying the heck out of that. I enjoyed all of assembly this year. I've always enjoyed all of assembly, but truthfully, I've been outside of assembly this time for, I think, an hour. So I've been inside assembly the entire time, and I have to say I'm also very impressed with the improvement on the big screen. I believe it is twice as bright this year because they have 2 projectors. I don't think we had that last year. It just seemed like a much brighter screen. So everything just has come together to make an excellent assembly. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to take us out or not. Good. I'm supposed to take us out. So thank you for tuning into my show. And for the ending of the Assembly 2013 Compo Studio for the demo compos and the end of all of the compos for Assembly, join us tomorrow for the prize giving number 2, where we will find out if any of the things that we talked about that we liked will win. And, well, enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you from Assembly 2013. I have this thing where it's sort of like...
Gives Sam the time to move back here. Spot still on the minimap, doesn't lose a single one of his stalkers, is also not able to kill one of those Marines. a little bit afraid that he will lose those initial units here, but he can get that poke off and has now at least an inkling of what's going on, sees that Tasia has that expansion and is going into a normal mid game.
Yeah, Tasia actually playing a little bit timidly there. If he just moved all the Marines out of his natural, he could have sandwiched those Stalkers, but he didn't know what San was doing, so he didn't want to risk getting caught out in the open like that. Now with that scan, he sees absolutely everything. He sees the fast Robo, he sees the fast single upgrade, and he just knows exactly what he's doing, and that makes him feel very, very safe for the time being, because there's no aggressive potential in the early game from that build.
Yeah. We currently also see the Twilight counts are going up for San. That of course allows him to go into the +2 armor upgrade if he chose to do so. But we could also see that faster Templar Archive, which is a style that Alicia has been preferring versus Tasia. And that was something that he really could make work, because Tasia had a huge problem just dodging those storms. The micro of Alicia, on the other hand, was really incredible there. So San copying this build, we're going to find out how good his force fields and all those storms actually are. Against Jan, we already saw that at least his force field micro is top-notch.
Yeah, we definitely did. Force field micro can translate to any matchup, although obviously as we move into the game, a Dark Templar Archive, or Dark Shrine actually coming down, and a Warp Prism coming out as well, so this is going to be a quick DT drop. We saw Alicia try this once against Tasia, but a brilliant scan caught the Twilight Council, told him that it was coming, and he was completely prepared for it. Here, he could totally be caught off guard.
Yeah, he just dropped the scan a few seconds earlier, so Tasia is currently in a position where he assumes that he knows what's going on, but he missed the Twilight Council, and he also doesn't see the Dark Shrine. So if San is actually able, with that Warp Prism that he's currently building, to get those units into the base, that would be quite devastating for Tasia. That could not only focus his attention on his own base, but it could really, really damage him in his economy. And behind all of this, San is also going into charge. He's going into his Immortals and also adding the +2 armor upgrade. So with DTs going into Archons, this could be a really heavy hit, a good follow-up for him if those DTs do some initial damage.
Especially with those Immortals coming out, that's not something we've seen a lot of. Alicia got one defensively, otherwise we haven't seen a single Immortal in PvT, and Immortal timings can be very, very powerful, but actually a little move out from Tasia here, and this is right before all those techs kick in, and the fact that San invested so much in so many different tech routes means his army is going to be tiny right now.
Yeah, and we actually had a couple of units just scouting here, and the Warp Prism is able to dodge everything. At this point, there is no information for Tasia whatsoever. He has a Marine and a Factory there, and both of them missed the Warp Prism. We have a scan forward for the Terran player moving in. There's the photon overcharge immediately by Tasia. He doesn't care. He moves in, tries to take down as much as he possibly can. The Archon already getting in position, trying to take down the Marauder. But the Immortal itself really damaged, and this is quite the pressure that we see coming out of Tasia here. The Warp Prism in the main base, on the other hand, to the top right, dropping those CTs immediately, and they go to work, start to take down Marines, moving into the mineral line at the natural as well. And Tasia is in a little bit of trouble here, not doing the damage that he wanted to dish out at the bottom left, but thanks to those orbitals, he can drop the scans that help him defend against the DTs.
He does have 3 orbitals, so he has a lot of scans available, but he burnt one immediately before that while he was trying to push in, and the 2 Ts spread out very nicely from San. So taking more than one scan to clear them out, and this is really costing him a lot. He's killed a lot of Marines. He already burned 1 scan, it will be 1 more. Not killing any SCVs though, not doing any economic damage, but this is a relatively small investment. He only put down 2 DTs there. He still has the Warp Prism in the back of the base to do a potential harass later on in the game.
Yep.
If he allows that to happen.
That move definitely paid off for him. We have him in a position where he took down more than 10 units with that Dark Templar alone, the last one that you could see there. And of course the double scan also coming into play. This does not allow him to get those mules that he would like to have at this stage of the game. And once again, we have something that we've seen Tasia do in a few of the former games. He has a rather delayed armory, so the attack into the +2/+2 upgrades is definitely a bit delayed by him. San, on the other hand, still focusing on the single forge, getting the +2 armor upgrade as we speak. And this is a +3 upgrade already, so he's really going for a very armor-heavy gateway composition, and especially those Archons that we have now with the Dark Shrine and the Templar Archive in the play, they can hurt a lot.
Yeah, the Archons and the Immortals, especially with all those armor upgrades, going to be a very, very hard to kill army. And 3 Immortals, that's something we don't see a lot. That's very powerful.
In terms of army supply, Tasia is still a little bit in the lead, and keep in mind that those medevacts with the afterburners could at any time go into the main base. There are not a lot of feedbacks available, and that's exactly what we've been talking about. He drops into the main, and he's starting to control the choke point, and without storms, this is a horrible position for San to be in. The main base is wide open to the Terran player, and he's moving in, trying to snipe that forge, and he gets the upgrade, and immediately Tasia moving out with medevacts.
And he doesn't lose a single medevac and all that. He traded a handful of bio units for so many units, a mothership core, and the upgrading forge. And delaying that +3 armor is so huge when his own upgrades are quite slow. But we do have Psystorm started up now, and San is building up a bigger and bigger army. He has to be really careful about engaging here.
Charge is done, he charges in, but Tasia, he just lifts into the main base once again. He's playing the elevator game. The warp in the main is good, but will those zealots really stop Tasia long enough? 1 DT in the mix, and that helps him quite a bit. If there's no scan, the Dark Templar alone is going to take down a lot of these units, and the rest of San's army is now moving in. The Protoss player is in a supply lead. He's trying to go for this fast storm upgrade. Well, not really fast anymore, 15 minutes into the game, but with the forges that he just finished, the double upgrades also started trying to catch up. Tasia, though, he does not stop. He's dropping again, and San taking that third base, definitely in a little bit of a predicament.
And it looks like San's actually getting a little impatient. The rest of his army, well, he's being kind of indecisive. It's sitting around his third. It looks like he kind of wants to attack. He just can't decide if it's the right move or not. And he is going to have Psystorm in a second here with 3 Templars there. He's going to have at least 2 Storms when they engage, plus those Immortals in there, and lots of charge slots. But without that +3 armor, he's not going to be quite as powerful as he'd like to be at this point in the game. He did have it all timed out for that upgrade to kick in at the same time, and that would have been an incredible attack, as is not quite as strong.
Yeah, a bit of a problem for Tasia, on the other hand, is that he doesn't really have too many ghosts he can rely upon. He just got the Möbius reactor. He's heading into 3-3 now that his second set of upgrade finished, and he's starting those ghosts, but he doesn't have them just yet. As we have 6 High Templars in the game. There could be storms. He's trying to go for the flank. The first one hits, but a nice split here by Tasia, not taking too much damage. Stimming once again. The Protoss army is moving in, and that storm, that hit the bullseye. A lot of damage done to Tasia's army, but the Terran player is in a really good spot and forces San back. The upgrades, especially attack, really coming through for him.
Those storms, though, they just didn't do as much as they absolutely had to break through there. He was just lacking in AoE. The storms did a lot of damage, but that was all he had. He has no Colossus. He didn't really have many Archons. I don't think he had a single Archon, actually. And he really needed those storms to soften up that entire army. So, not quite enough. And Tasia's putting on the pressure. He's just rallying across the map now and attacking 2 places at once. And San's going to be really hard-pressed to defend this.
Yeah, he's moving in right now. He's just trying to snipe the Nexus. Even the Photon overcharge can't do anything about it. He lifts into the medevac, moves on, and there's another attack at the third phase. San is trying to defend. Basically, he storms his own army here. The Terran turns around and snipes those zealots. The Archons are going to fall as well. Tasia takes the heavy supply lead here. He's on the way to 3-3. He's in the main base. He's everywhere.
Just brilliant drop micro from Tasia, always picking up, running around, really abusing the lack of anti-air and the lack of mobility from San. And San's just kind of falling apart. He doesn't have any units. He's losing his infrastructure. He's losing his economy. Nothing he can really fall back on here.
Tasia is just in San's space, and now we have the GG in game number 1 as Tasia claims victory and San is down 0-1.
Tasia made that look easy. San had a pretty nice opening build. He had a lot of things going for him, and it just didn't matter. Tasia kind of dodged the storms, didn't really even care, just stood there and killed stuff.
And the first thing that Tasia does is he jumps on Skype and says, like, yeah, mama, won game number 1, everything is fine. San stays in StarCraft. That's dedication right there. So game number 1 ends in favor of Tasia. He takes it, and we talked about his incredible record in this matchup. He had a lot of practice, of course, already in this tournament, playing the same matchup in the semifinal. For San, it was really a little bit of a problem to deal with that elevator tactic at the beginning. The pressure that came out of Tasia really did a number on him, and once that this one forge that he had went down, he had a huge disadvantage with the upgrades.
The choice to go Immortals there, I don't know, I just found it kind of surprising. The lack of AoE damage early on really, really limited him. He couldn't threaten that. You really have to kill stuff quickly against Terran just because the strength of the medevacs is that you can't chip away at an army. You need that burst damage. And the investment in the Immortals just meant that he didn't have that. And that's what made it so easy for Tasia to really pick at him with that elevator.
He was later on trying to go into Colossi, but it was already too late. The damage was done. And especially, of course, when Tasia had the opportunity to move in with a small force, snipe down that Nexus and limit the income of San on 2 bases. That was when things were really going downhill for the Protoss player, and he knew it as well. There was a drop in the main base, probes were taken out, and that was one of those situations where you could really see that San was struggling coming up with a solution to this problem. He couldn't really recover, and Tasia takes that lead in the game on a map that kind of plays a little bit in his hands, I feel. Such a small map, and he has shown that he is a really good aggressive player if he wants to be, and that drop play definitely showcasing that.
Absolutely, and San, we would have we would have kind of expected aggression out of him more so than Teja, given his style in previous games. So he really just sat back. It looked like he may have been going for a mid-game timing, but even that wasn't a very potent one. He still had a third base coming up there. Teja was the one just totally in control of the entire game. And if that's the case, I don't know if San really has much of a chance, because it just didn't seem like his mechanics were up to par. He's very much a strategical player. He needs to outsmart Teja early game and do some damage there. Otherwise, it's going to be really difficult for him.
And that's, of course, one of those questions that San has to ask himself right now. Do I really want to go into the late and mid-game against Teja, or do I just try to hit him with the timing and then maybe overpower him early on before he's getting too strong? Especially since San himself said in the interview that he feels the Protoss versus Terran is his worst matchup.
Yeah, I think pretty much everyone, well, he says it himself, but I think pretty much everyone agrees. Statistically, it's his worst, and just watching it, it's clearly not as clean and comfortable as his PvZ. PvZ, he absolutely knows what to do in every possible situation. We saw he looked very, very comfortable. PvT, not so much.
Yeah, the PvZ that he played was really looking incredible. He took so many Zerg players down without showing any weakness at all, and that really, really helped here. But guys, before we are heading into map number 2, we have a quick commercial. We will see the game on Star Station in just a few minutes, so stay tuned, and then we'll be back with the finals here at the Aces ROG Tournament 2013.